All right, we are rounding the corner to our closing remarks. Again, I want to thank you all for coming today. And I don't want to have you leave today without asking yourself the question, how can you make your workplace more inclusive of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or any disability for that matter? How can you make your workplace more accessible for employment, or as Rika so eloquently talked about, how can we, for our customers, for the people we serve, the public? And so one of the, excuse me, I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as I bring up our guest speaker. I had the privilege of meeting Jeff Akin, who received an award just a few moments ago. He is a manager at the Department of Human Services, Information Records Management, and now I believe Criminal Records Unit, or Background Check Unit. He's been called worse. So I was so impressed when I got to meet Jeff and sat down with his team of supervisors and managers. And you are going to hear from him about how he has taken a step by engaging with Amplify to move forward in a way that some of you are like, wow, I won't be there for 5 years. They already employ quite a few folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and he'll tell you about that. But Jeff, I'm just so glad you were willing to come and give our Oregon Employment First Disability Diversity Challenge to this wonderful group of people. So come on up.
Thank you, Heidi. And thank you, everybody, for coming today. This is my first Amplify event ever, and completely blown away. As Heidi said, my name is Jeff Akin. Like, oh, my back, it's aching. Oh. We all have that feeling, right? Especially as employers, we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders and are always looking for that thing that might lighten the load a little bit. Well, working for the Department of Human Services, they do the opposite of that, and they tend to add more. So I've managed, we love our acronyms in state government, so I've managed IRMS, we do imaging, we do records management, information security, all that really fun behind-the-scenes stuff that no one really cares about until it breaks, right? And then because I was doing that, hey, let's do some more. And so now also managing the background check unit and looking forward to implementing much of what we've done at IRMS into the background check unit. Heidi alluded to the fact that, or straight up mentioned the fact we employ a number of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We also employ a lot of people with apparent physical disabilities as well. We have about 90 staff that work in our office, and just under half of them have an intellectual, developmental, or physically apparent developmental disability. And it's incredible, right? The work that they do sets them up not only for success where they are, but success in the future. They touch every aspect of both the Department of Human Services and the Oregon Health Authority. So I want to tell one quick story about an employee. Her name's Brandy, and Brandy came to us through the Employment First program, and her job was to open and sort mail. It's the first actual job she had ever had. She worked with us for about 6-7 months and had a meeting with her job coach where she said, I can't do this anymore. This is mind-numbing. Like, this is like, I've got it nailed and I need to do more. So the job coach came to us and was like, what do you got? Like, what can we do? And through networking, which is a big part of the thing I want to talk about for all the employers here, we all have our networks, right? So through networking, I was able to go to another unit and say, hey, I've got a super skilled employee. Do you have any opportunities in here? And they did. It was a promotional opportunity for her. They put her in there on a temporary basis. And as of yesterday, is now permanently in that position. So came in to open mail, and now she's working at a front desk, doing reception work, taking care of people and paper and just like actually engaging. The cool thing about this, though, what I get really excited about, is we don't really always know the untapped potential that people have that's waiting inside of them. So in my head, right, we all have our own internal biases. And so in my bias was, here's Brandy, who probably sat at home for a long time and didn't do a lot and then finally got a job. Well, I was wrong. Shame on me for not digging, but she had a bachelor's degree in clinical social work. Wow. Wow, that's incredible. Now she's been accepted in and is beginning this fall in the graduate program to get her master's in clinical social work. And she's doing that, and she told me this just when we offered her the job full time, that the confidence of having her own job and the confidence of being recognized and promoted gave her what she needed to apply for and get accepted into that program. Incredible. One other story I like to share is about a lady named Joyzanne. Joyzanne is nearing the ripe age of 70 years old and she worked in some sheltered workshops as she was younger and has maintained employment through much of her life. This is her first job outside of the sheltered environment there. And I love Joyzanne because she has what I like to call the tap water feature, which is when you talk to her within seconds, she starts to cry. Because she very much wears her emotions on her sleeves. And almost on a daily basis, when I talk to her, she talks about how proud she is to have this job because she can affect the lives of Oregonians. As employers, we have the golden ticket. We have jobs. And there's very little more important in our world than jobs, right? For many people, a job is just a means to an end, right? I get my paycheck so I can play my games and pay for my rent and food and all those fun things. But the thing it is for a lot of people we don't realize is dignity. It's self-respect. And we have an opportunity to provide that to people who, through no fault of their own, may have been denied that through their lives. Nothing in the world makes me feel better about the work I do. And I work for the state. I'm not going to lie. Long time ago, there was this really cool thing where you go get a job with the state. And you might make a little less money than your private sector peers, but you got these incredible benefits, right? Well, yeah, that was a while ago. And it seems like every couple of years, legislature gets involved and they chip away at those benefits. But hey, the pay, still a little bit less than out in the private sector. And I always like to think to myself, there's generally two types of people who work in state government. There's a third one, but I don't want to bury anybody who works for the state. But there's people who don't know what's available out there in the private sector. And then there are people who believe in the mission of the agency they're serving. And in DHS, we have a pretty lengthy mission, but I wrap it up into three little words: independence, health, and safety. That's what we exist to do, to make people independent, healthy, and safe. What better thing to do than give someone a job with dignity and self-respect, decent paycheck, and decent benefits, which is a lot more than they're going to get elsewhere. It gives me so much personal pride to walk in and see these people feeling good. We partnered with Heidi and her incredible team a little while ago because the state is undertaking a massive IT project. So watch the Oregonian. I'm sure there'll be plenty of updates on our project in there. I like to say, working for the Department of Human Services, I now get to say I work for the Oregonian's second favorite agency. Thank you, Oregon Health Authority. Some insider jokes there, but they kill when I'm in the office. Believe me, they love it. But it's a massive project, and essentially, we're going to centralize eligibility for all the programs DHS administers. Big thing. And they're talking about our office becoming the mailroom for the agency. So any given day, we open and receive about 6,000-ish pieces of mail. That is expected to increase to over 25,000 pieces a day. Because it's only 2018, it's not like we have electronic ways of doing things. We certainly move at the speed of state in the Department of Human Services. But hey, we try, and trying counts, right? That's half the grade. But what this means is we're going to have a tremendous opportunity to employ people to open, sort, and scan mail. So we immediately saw a need for ramping up our management, getting us ready to supervise a more diverse group of people. for anyone who manages a team of more than one person, you know that any change to the makeup of that can be extremely disruptive to your management, to your team, to your productivity. And so we wanted to equip ourselves to get as far ahead of that curve as we possibly could. And Heidi's team has done an incredible job putting together some training specific to our needs. And it's been awesome. I am so fortunate that I have a management team that shares my philosophy. And my philosophy is super simple, that as employers, as people, it's our responsibility. It is incumbent on us to provide dignity to the people we serve. And that means the people we work with, the people who work for us, that we work for, and our customers. We provide dignity on top of all the other things we talk about. I'm very fortunate my team believes in that. So we're all hands on deck to do it. But I want to kind of wrap up a little bit before I hand off to Heidi to give the actual challenge. I'm going to throw down a little gauntlet. And I'm going to ask a couple questions, and you guys can answer as enthusiastically as you want, because I think we're all turned up a little bit. And I'm hoping right now to amplify that turn up a little bit more. Who here, by a show of however you want to show it, has ever been unemployed? Who here thought it was really awesome when they were unemployed? I did for like 2 weeks. Yeah. Sat in front of my Xbox. I'm like, yeah, I'll look for a job. It'll be cool. It'll be fine. Who thought it was really horrible, like after 2 weeks and then some? Who felt a little humiliated, maybe a little less of a person because they were unemployed? Who got a job after they were unemployed and then felt okay because it wasn't a great job, but it was a job? Yeah. And then who got the incredible job and you felt like a rock star once you got it? Who of you wants to open that door and give that exact opportunity to somebody else? Just hands, that's all I'm getting. Who wants to create rock stars? Who wants to give rock star opportunities to people that today, right now, are sitting at home on their couch and they're sick of being unemployed? They're humiliated because they're unemployed. They feel just like you felt. Who in here wants to give an opportunity to those people to help them feel like a rock star? Let me hear it. Awesome. With that, Heidi, get up here and challenge these people to do the same.